Welcome to the Two-Way Street podcast with Rick Harris of Work Boot Consulting and Rob Berry of St. Louis Bath and Renovations. Our aim is to bridge the gap between contractors and consumers. Remember, communication is always a two-way street.
Thanks for joining us. This is the Two-Way Street podcast. I'm Robert Berry. That's my friend Rick Harris. Today we're going to talk about merit versus deserve. Merit meaning what have you done in life that you've earned where you are or what it is that you want versus what we see the common refrain now if we turn on the boob tube there that I deserve something because I'm blank, because I'm fat or tall or skinny or a different color or because I was born in the right family. Do I deserve it just because I'm there, just for showing up? Or did you earn it? That's what we're going to be talking about today.
Interesting. So this is one a little abstract, a little bit different than we normally talk about. So, so explain to me deserve versus merit. Just dive a little bit deeper in there, if you wouldn't mind.
Sure. Let's talk about maybe a generalized idea of being born in a rich family. Hey, Rob was born to a bunch of millionaires, and on my 16th birthday, I got a brand new car, and I deserve it because I'm in the Smith family, and everybody in the family got brand new cars. So I just deserve that. But I know that I've got friends that when they turned 16, they didn't get a brand new car. You know, what was their normal versus my normal? I just see a lot of people wanting things that they didn't potentially earn. And in America, I know, Rick, you're from Canada, I'm from the Midwest, and I know North America celebrates success. I'm just getting tired of hearing about things that have something to do that are outside of your control, that any of that should be something that we should focus on, right? I've got graying brown hair, and so I deserve something, or I was born in the right family, or I did this, or I did that, and I just showed up. You know, the participation trophy. Here it is. Congratulations, Rob. You've won Mr. Universe because you did nothing. Well, I didn't do anything. If I didn't do anything, I don't deserve it, and I don't necessarily. We didn't plot this conversation out necessarily pointed towards contractors or pointed towards consumers, but we'll try to weave that in there if we can. I think talking about things that are going on in the mainstream, in the modern vernacular, there's a common thread there that we see. And I think that we should talk about things like this from time to time because they have value. And I think it's good to talk about ideas. One of my favorite quotes, and I've probably said it on this podcast before, is from Thomas Jefferson. It says, "Let's meet on the battlefield of ideas."
Right.
So, because we've started as friends and we're going to end as friends, and if we're going to battle, we're just going to battle through ideas. We're not going to battle through fists or weapons or violence. We're going to battle with ideas, and the best idea is going to win. That's at least how I take that advice. So I want to focus today on what have you done in life? What are you doing in life? What are you going to start tomorrow or 5 minutes from now that begins your journey towards merit, towards earning something? Let's say that you're down in the dumps and you need something in your life. Well, I've heard it described as the earth, for a farmer, the earth cries out, "Give me your seed, don't tell me your need." If you want a crop, the best time to have planted that crop is probably 2 to 6 months ago.
Right.
Not, don't tell me you're hungry right now. Well, what have you been doing for the last week, month, 6 months to plan for knowing that you're going to be hungry every single day and that you want to eat multiple times a day? So just that common thing. I don't want to beat a dead horse, but merit merit or earning something versus, Rick, you owe me something because I showed up.
Right, right. Um, yeah, it sounds like we're talking about, maybe a little bit of privilege. You were raised in a privileged family. But I think if you look back, like I remember as a kid, I'm not saying my generation, we had it all figured out, but there were consequences, that, I remember trying out for, um, the rep or the all-star team, and I got cut. I was like the final cut of this on this team, and I was devastated. And maybe I deserve to be on that team, but my ability didn't merit me being on that team. And then you moved into another generation, and that I know that we did a disservice by handing out participation medals to everybody who came out. Everybody gets a trophy. Everybody gets a medal. Everybody gets an eighth place ribbon, right? Everybody, it was a good effort. Did you have fun? Did you really enjoy it? And I don't think we, myself included, taught that group of individuals what it's like to lose. So when you got to the point in your life where you got cut or you lost or you failed, they couldn't deal with it. I'm supposed to win. No, you're not supposed to win. Not everybody wins. There's first, second, and third, and beyond that at the Olympics. Thanks for coming out. Appreciate you being here. That was a personal best, but you still came in 10th place. So it's interesting too. I mean, I guess if you focus that on business, just because you open up a business and just because you do whatever it is you do, whether you're a contractor or anything else, and you just expect people to come out and you expect business to come, you haven't earned it.
Well, you and I could speak to that, can't we? We each have our own businesses, multiple businesses, and people are just not knocking on your door saying, "Hey, throwing money at you."
Yep. Yeah, and it's interesting too. I was talking to somebody earlier, and it is human nature. We're all the same, myself included, that we have intentions of doing something. I'm going to do this, and this, and then that will lead to a result of this, or that. Well, the reality is we don't do that. We don't do those things. So if we haven't done the work we to merit a result, then we don't deserve it. Simple as that.
I heard an awesome analogy. I think it's one of the best analogies I'd ever heard. I think it's an analogy. Um, this person that I was listening to was talking about someone that's really in shape, and he said, "You can't buy that.
Hmm.
You can't buy that body. You have
Hmm.
to earn that."
Yep.
And I'm not talking about if you think like Arnold Schwarzenegger at his peak was, freakish or this or that, but you could see every single muscle in his body, right? And and he was in the gym 3 times a day. There's
Oh wow.
no replacing that. You cannot buy that. It was
No.
nothing but earning it.
Hmm. Yeah, and so for somebody like that, they had something that they wanted, and they just put their head down and got it. So the effort you put in equals the result you're going to get out. So if you put very little effort of going into the gym by not even showing up, the result will mean you're not going to look like this individual. But it's up to you to determine whether you want to do that or not. And I think everybody's so afraid of failure and not being able to do it. And what's the saying? Done is better than perfect. Just
Oh, couldn't agree more. And I think when I first met you, that was either you or our old coach Andrew that said that. You know, not to one up you, but that sowing and reaping, the farmer analogy I gave earlier about the earth saying, hey, plant the seed and then don't tell me your need. Give me some work.
mm-hmm.
Sowing and reaping, if you plant one kernel of corn, how many kernels are you going to get out of that?
Mm-hmm.
But if you plant in the negative sense, if you plant some negative seeds somewhere, and I don't know what a negative seed is, but if you plant that negative seed, you're gonna reap 5, 10, 20, 50, 100 times worse than the evil that you sowed. So you're gonna reap what you sow. And what are we focusing on today? Has life not been going your way? All right, well then even on a straight road, you still have to correct the steering wheel just a bit, right?
Mm-hmm.
What are we doing? What are we sowing? What are we reaping? For the contractors, I need to find you. You mentioned it earlier. Do I have enough work? The consumers, man, every contractor I get is trying to steal from me. Well, typically the the thief is the one that thinks everybody's trying to steal from them. Typically, not always.
Mm-hmm.
Not always.
Yep.
Everybody's had stuff stolen from them, but if you're really focused on that, it may be because you're wanting something for nothing. Maybe. I don't know. I'm saying just look at it. Think of what we're talking about because we're going to touch on a number of things, I'm sure. And you're going to multiply the seed that you put out there in the world. It's going to multiply.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And it's funny as you talked about reaping and sowing, it reminded me of a children's fable that he talked about. I forget who it was about. Will you help me plant the seed? No, why should I? Will you help me water? Will you help me this? And then when it came time to have the corn or whatever it is they grew, it's like, well, I'm not going to give any to you because you said you didn't want any part of it. So now you want a part of it when it's all done. So there's something along those lines. But
yeah. Did you work for it or did you have your hand out? And and we all know when we're looking at it on paper here in black and white, when we're talking about it this plainly, it all makes sense that, oh, of course, earning it is better. Well, what's going right in your life? And when it went right, what were you doing? Conversely, what's going wrong in your life? What were you doing? And one of our kids, we were talking about something the other day, and he was having a struggle in his life, and it was a small one. And I said, if you got a flat tire in your car, is it your fault? Well, I guess you drove it, so I guess to a certain degree it's your fault. But you weren't driving to try and get a flat tire. But it's not your fault you got the flat tire.
Mm-hmm.
It is your responsibility to fix it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Completely agree with that. And you mentioned earlier, you talked about, if you're the type of individual who hires somebody to do work around your home based on price alone, that they're the cheapest, and guess what you're going to get? You're going to get a subpar performance. And it's like, so say you hired a plumber who will come in and do whatever it is, and he does it for a really good price. It's very cheap. It's amazing. But he only works Monday to Friday, 8 to 4. That's all he works. Well, if that thing breaks at 11 o'clock at night, guess what you got?
You're not calling Rick because he works 8 to 4.
You got what you paid for. You got the cheapest price.
Yeah.
And so with contractors as well, if you're competing on price alone, guess what kind of clients you're going to get? People who see no value in the years of knowledge that you've accumulated, the years of the skill that you've accomplished, created for yourself, and so they just see you as just another monkey that carries around tools. Anybody can do this. If I had the right tools, I'd do it myself. And I've heard that somebody said that to me I'm sure every contractor has been told that by somebody.
Yeah, if I had the time, I would do it myself. And
Right.
I,
Yeah.
that's what's funny is that a lot of consumers don't know that's a major smokescreen. That's a major red flag for
Yeah.
contractors. We hear that stuff all the time. They're
Hmm.
undervaluing what it is that we bring to the table. You're not hiring a contractor for the hours, you're hiring them for the years. To follow along
Hmm.
with what you were talking about, Rick, you're an honest contractor is going to tell you what they're not good at. The things that he is good at, because he's already failed 1,000 times.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's just simply that thing's fallen apart in his hand more times than you'll hold it, and he knows what not to do. That's what you're paying him for. It's not for the 15 minutes that he was there. He had to drive 45 minutes to get to your house, 45 minutes away. He's there for 15 minutes. Got to go to the bank to deposit your check. Half of his day's gone for 15 minutes at your house. Yeah, we're in business to make money. It's not charity. We get it, but
Hmm.
he's got things to do. He's got bills to pay. It's not just for the 15 minutes that he fixed that little washer at your house that caused your faucet to leak.
Yeah, I remember saying that to somebody one time. He was there helping the homeowner out. And he said, if I had all the tools, I could do this myself. And I looked at him, I said, I could fill this room full of every tool that I own, put my homes in the room with you. And I said, you still couldn't do it. So it's not, it's not the tools, it's not anything else except skill. And the stuff that contractors do, it is the skill. I mean, it's not like we're building rockets to send to Mars. I mean, some of the stuff is quite complicated, but it's something that you can learn. Even you or I could learn how to build a rocket to go to Mars at some point, I would think. But what's interesting is getting back to merit versus deserve. Are you achieving the success that you want because you merit it, or do you think that you deserve it? And have you determined what kind of success you do want, and how are we setting yourself up for failure based on what we're looking the comparison trap that a lot of people fall in, which is very prevalent now with all the social media and the filters and everything else that is on there. There was one that was out there recently. It was a snap or a reel or something. It was this woman who had a filter on, and while she was going through a drive-through, and it said the filter is trying to hang on for dear life because she moved her head and the filter came off, so you could see what she really looked like. It's like that is so goofy. I don't know how many people I see where they have these filters on their photos, and that's not what you really look like. It's completely bizarre. But I think it is. I mean, if you look at it this way, so age, looks, right? Okay. Say you're 60 years old. You don't look like you did when you're 20 years old, nor should you. That would be a little bit bizarre. You don't deserve to look younger, but I mean, if you want to say this is the way I look, it's because of the life that you've had, whatever that could be.
Yeah, yeah,
And if you lived a good life where you haven't done goofy things and you stayed out of the sun and all the other stuff, then yeah, you merit to look younger than somebody who hasn't lived that kind of life. So, and you deserve to look younger. So it's just interesting that I think a lot of times that we're setting ourselves up for failure when we confuse merit versus deserve. And when it comes down, like I said before, when it comes down to just about everything, you're getting the life that you deserve. And I remember somebody saying that to me years and years and years and years ago. Everybody makes choices. They may not be the same choices that you or I would make, but there are choices nonetheless. And hopefully when they get a life that they think they didn't deserve, that they think they merited more, that they're able to reflect back and think, okay, I'm here because of choices that I made, not because of any other reason.
Well, yeah, yeah. The merit. The Did you plan? What I heard you say, the merit person, the person basing their lives on merit, says that they're planning on success. That doesn't mean it's
Mm-hmm.
guaranteed. They're planning on success. They're sowing the seeds for success, whether
Mm-hmm.
that's relationships or business, winning at Monopoly, whatever. Uh, the deserve crowd, the what have you done for me lately crowd, is really planning to fail, because that's
Yep.
more. I think it. As I think further about this, I think that this is merit is proactive and deserve is reactive, because the success crowd, the little pig that built his house out of brick, he he planned for success by planning for failure, planning against failure rather. He didn't want that house to fail. So
Yep.
I think you guys all get it. It's just we see so much that's out there that it just I didn't raise my family that way, and I could tell you 1,000 things or more that I screwed up on
Oh,
that
yeah.
that I can see now in hindsight what I should have done or could have done differently. But you know what? I'm a different person now. I made the best decision I thought at the time with the information that I was open enough to seek. If you're
Yep.
watching this podcast now, hopefully this strikes a chord and you're like, wait a minute, I made a mistake in the past, and something Rick said really sparked my interest, or I like that topic Rob brought up, whatever. Man, learn from others' mistakes. I always told the kids, you are smart if you learn from your mistakes. You are wise if you learn from others' mistakes.
Yep.
So I I, I want to sow the seeds of success today in my life and in Rick's life and in your life by planning for success, trying to avoid failure actively, and moving actively, pursuing the direction that I want to go in life, and not just accepting what life throws at me. We're all going to have life thrown at us, right? Um, you and I get to choose the hard thing. Do we want the pain of discipline, or the pain and suffering of regret? Which do you want?
Yep.
And I, I'm hopeful that this will spark something in your life today that causes you to reflect and not be sorrowful, but something that causes you to react, to move forward, and putting a positive foot forward, and moving in the direction that you want to go.
Yeah. Yeah. We all deserve success. We all deserve happiness. We all deserve good things. If you haven't put the effort in to get those things, you don't merit them. Sorry. Showing up is 90% of success, apparently, but you got to do more than just show up. You got to
Shoot,
do.
if there's a 20-year-old watching right now with exactly what you said about showing up, if you show up not on time but early, just early,
Mhm. Mhm.
you are ahead of 85% of people.
Yep.
At least, just showing up early. You may not
Mhm.
know a thing about what you're about to walk into, but you show up early, man, you're in there, and I guarantee you, success is going to follow.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true. I had somebody ask me the other day, my son wants to get into the trades. What's the best way to do it? I said, you go around and you knock on every single door that you can find. Tell them that you will come in there, bust your ass. You don't know how to do whatever it is they're doing, but you're willing to learn. And then you show up and you bust your ass every single day. And and it sounds really kind of goofy because those things are so addictive, but you leave your cell phone somewhere else. You do not carry it with you.
Oh man, tell your friends you're working that day. Don't call me from 8 to 4.
Oh,
Don't
my
call.
gosh. I mean, we're off on a bit of a tangent here, but I remember helping out a contractor and, with his team. And we were we were working, I had to step in and help him do something. It was just supposed to be a teaching lesson, but I had to step in and help this guy, this technician do something. And I had to look over and I said, "Can you please put your phone away while we're working? We're right in the middle of doing a project." And he had his phone in his hand looking at it. And I said, "Who are you talking to? So please focus on what it is you're doing." And it's not just young people, it's everybody. It's not so that we can't leave that little, piece of technology alone. Just leave it alone. But anyhow, that's a whole other thing. I'm guilty of it too. I really am.
We all are, but what that is, if I'm on my phone and I've clocked in with Rick's Plumbing, that, and I'm not giving 100% of my attention to Rick's Plumbing, then I have stolen time from you because you've paid me for that time that I was on the phone.
Yep.
And that's a whole nother sowing and reaping conversation right there.
Yep.
But Rick has paid me to be on my phone. And
Yep.
I've had to tell even my children that have worked for me. I've got one of my 4 sons that he works for me full time, and I had to tell him about that. I said, "Buddy, you're an adult. You never have to ask me to use your phone, especially if you tell me at the beginning of the day, 'Hey, Dad, I've got a phone call at 8:15. Fantastic. Go take the 5 or 10 or 15 minutes that you need. Go focus on it. And if you need my help on something, cool. Or if someone told you that they were going to call you at whenever time, hey, Dad, fantastic, go ahead. But I'm not paying you to be on your phone.
No.
I need you around when I need you. And if your phone gets in the way, you got to go earn your living somewhere else because I can't pay for that. I've paid you 100% for the time you were here. I need 100% of your effort, not 85%, not 16%. If I pay you 100%, I need 100% back.
Absolutely. So if you like anything, any skill that you're trying, anything that you're trying to learn, that is a skill, you have to put in the effort. And just because you put in 5 years of showing up and you didn't put the effort in, you don't merit being called a qualified whatever it is. And just because you put in the 5 years, you do not deserve to be competing with somebody who showed up for 5 years and busted their butt to learn everything they possibly could about that specific thing that you're doing with plumbing, electrical, roofing, siding, whatever. Just because you're showing up doesn't mean you don't deserve to be called a journey person or whatever it is you're called.
The disconnect that I see that happens out there is not in people know what we're talking about. Half the people right now are listening and going, well, this is all fundamental, silly. We want to receive that stuff, don't we? We want to receive. If I pay Rick 100%, it's obvious that I should get 100% of Rick's attention. But what am I putting out there in the world? What am I sowing? And what am I reaping, right? What am I attracting?
Yeah.
Like attracts like. If I don't put myself 100% out there, 100% honesty, 100% effort, 100% everything, I can't get back 100%. It just doesn't work. You've got to, if you're a contractor and you want better work, man, you've got to be better. If you want better customers, you got to be a better contractor. And Rob, I'm the best right now. Put it all on, have your work process, figure that stuff out, whether it's a flow chart or a napkin, I don't care. Figure out your work process and hammer that down and figure out what you can get better at. Because if life is not going the way that you want it to go, then there is something you can improve. And it's not your fault, but it is your responsibility to fix it if you don't like it. And if you don't like it and you don't want to fix it, well, then shut up. We don't want to hear about it.
Hey, accept responsibility. I remember I had an issue with somebody one time, and I called my coach up and told her what was going on and how mad I was at this person. And she just said, "Well, that's a you problem." That's like,
shut up, Rick.
I said, "Oh, that's not the answer I wanted." She said, "Well, what's the answer you're getting?" She said, "From my perspective, that's a you problem. So you need to deal with that one." So like, okay, fair enough. So, what was my role?
Was she right? Was she right?
Oh, yeah. No, she was right. She was right. 100% right. When I took a step.
What was the big picture that you were missing? What were you shrugging responsibility, or what was it? What was it?
Well, it's just so interesting. I mean, this kind of continues on about what's happened with me over the past couple of days. I give a ton. I give a ton to people. And I wasn't getting back from them what I thought I should be getting, what I thought I deserved. Well, I didn't merit the result that I wanted because I wasn't positioning it properly. So it's a business thing, and I don't want to get into details, but it was doing business with people, and I was giving, but it wasn't being reciprocated. In my eyes, it was not being reciprocated. And then so this is exactly what happened. I did not position what my expectations were.
Hmm. So you
So
didn't articulate those things at the beginning.
no, so the result I was getting was exactly what I deserved, which means I had to suck it up and say, "Great, okay, lesson learned. Won't do that again." So, and I explained it to somebody today. It's like I said, it's the equivalent of you, and I said this to you as well. You come over to borrow my lawnmower. And I say, hey, you show up. Hey, Rick, can I borrow your lawnmower? I say, sure. And then off it goes. I have no right to be angry that it has not been returned after a day, 2 days, 3 days, 4,
Got it
5, 6,
3 years.
and it's gone. But if I had positioned that and said, sure, but this is what I expect,
Right, right.
then if it comes back broken out of gas or it doesn't come back at all, I can, hey, you told me this is what you agreed upon and this is what happened.
Yeah.
Then the result I get is what I deserve because I set expectation. So it's like everything. I know it's a very, very cerebral conversation and it's very kind of off the beaten path, but just think of it this way: you reap what you sow is what it comes down to. You know, and if you do not want a crappy life, if you don't want a crappy business, put the effort in. If you don't want a crappy renovation, put the effort in to find the right individual to come do the work in your home. But if you want just a run-of-the-mill renovation or experience with just to fix something, that's what you're going to get. And there's plenty of people out there. But if you want that premier service, if you want that premier, and you expect it, and you laid out all your expectations of the things that you want, and it's very clear and it's all written down, and that person does not deliver, you can certainly say, hey, this is not what we agreed upon. These are not the things that you told me you would do. Conversely, if the other person that is doing work for you lays it all out for you, that I did all the work, I did all the help, I told you what you're going to get, this is the quality, this is everything else, I laid it all out for you, and they're not happy, it's on them because I explained to you what you're going to get. So it's yeah, you reap what you sow. So if you want crappy clients, have a crappy process. If you want crappy renovations or trade work done on your own, hire somebody who has crappy processes because that's what you're going to get. So
Yeah. Businesses, if you have bad process, that's probably the kiss of death. Consumers, shop only on price. And you will probably fail 70-80% of the time. And then you'll end up thinking that contractors rather are just out to take advantage of you. This is how we feed our families. And we all know crappy contractors too. I don't associate with them necessarily, but we know them. We hear the horror stories too. But if you shop just on price, good luck.
Yep.
Good luck.
100%. And it's interesting. The one final story. I always tell stories about steaks. I don't know why I tell stories about steaks, but I love steaks. So I was on vacation a couple of months ago. My sister-in-law was with us, and she ordered a steak at the place, and she said, "Oh, this is so good." I said, "Okay, well." We were in a Caribbean island, and I was like, "Okay." But last place I thought you could get a good steak, and she got a good steak. So I said, "Oh yeah, I want to get steak." So the next night, or the next time we went out, I ordered a steak, and it showed up, and it was horrible. It was horrible, but I was like, it's my own fault. I'm at a seafood restaurant. I should have ordered a steak. Got what I deserved. Next 2 nights later, we went out to this other place, and it was high end. It was beautiful. And the server came over and she said, "We're doing steaks on the charcoal grill tonight. They're ribeyes and everything else." And I said, "Okay, I'm my last experience, and this is what happened. It's true. It was not good. So I'm expecting a really good steak." So I did the work. This is what I expected. It showed up, came to the table. She plunked it down. I looked at it. It looked like the steak I had 2 nights ago. I cut into it, and then it's like, no. I sat back and I said, "I'm not eating this. I told you what I expected, and this is not what I expected. And this is not what I'm getting." And she said, "We'll see what we can do to take it off the bill." I said, "Oh yes, you will take it off the bill." So she brought me chicken. Chicken was wonderful. So lesson learned.
Caribbean chicken.
Lesson learned: do not order steak when you're down in the Caribbean.
Yeah.
So anyhow, but that's the story. I was very clear on what I expected. And what this is, I even told her the story about how I had the bad steak a few nights ago, and I didn't want another bad steak. So anyhow, I was not mean about it. I just said, "I'm not eating this. I'm not doing this again." But anyhow. If you want to see somebody mad at a steak and getting mad over a steak over food, that would be me.
I am certain that through the different analogies and stories and whatever, that everybody's going to be able to pick up something of value from what we said today. And it's my hope that you will process that, chew on that, digest it, and just use what you learned today and put that out there in the world. If you're sick and tired of being sick and tired, take something from that, put it out there in the world, and I promise you it's not going to come back void, but it's going to take some work, but you will reap more than what you sowed, especially if you're putting your best foot forward. It's probably not going to backfire on you. But if you're trying to hurt others, you're trying to sow discord and steal, and first off, this isn't the podcast for you. We've said that before. But if you're trying to do that, it's going to come back to you too, and you're going to be looking over your shoulder to some degree, thinking that everybody's out to take advantage of you, when it may just be you trying to take advantage of other people, and you haven't thought about it that way. We can cut you some slack. Today's the day. Turn over a new leaf. Let's move forward and put out in the world what it is that we want to receive. So merit versus deserve. Did I earn it, or do you just owe me, Rick? Do you owe me? I think it's much better to earn it instead of just having an open hand and looking for that handout.
Yeah, absolutely.
Why don't you take us out, Rick?
Okay. Thanks, Rob. I always appreciate that. If you follow us along, share us with your friends. It's on Spotify, it's on YouTube. And if you want to reach out to us, right after this, we'll tell you how to get a hold of Rob or how to get a hold of me. Thanks, guys.
To learn more about Rick, go to his website, workbootconsulting.com. And to learn more about Rob, go to his website, sdlbr.com. Until next time, work on bridging that gap. Remember, it's always a two-way street.